Hi everyone, session 9 today, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think a very interesting chapter. For most of you, this will be one of the key selling moments throughout the year. So this is what makes it more tangible and it's actually a chapter where a lot of revenue is generated for most of the people following this course. Now we can see we are already through the entire course. Session 9 today. Next week we have creative storefronts, and then we are through. So great that you all made it here, and I hope that actually, the last two chapters are quite interesting, which I structured specifically this way. So we have some of the biggest value drops in the end. Now let's go through the course or the session overview in terms of content. So today we will cover or structured in a way that we quickly recap seasonality campaigns, right? Because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is essentially one of the seasonal campaigns. And remember what we discussed throughout this entire course, right? The seasonal campaigns are your bottom of the funnel conversion drivers. Why Black Friday is important, how to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Then we go through the entire campaign implementation from beginning to end. And then we cover some additional case studies. Now this session might be split into two. I will decide that along this recording because I think it might be a bit too long for one session. So I might split out the last chapter with the additional case studies in a second recording. Now, I said for most of you, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a key selling moment. Now this is not for everyone, right? And why I'm saying this is because it depends on the brand. So some brands might have a seasonality in different moments throughout the year, right? So if you're selling gym equipment, fitness supplements, it might be at the beginning of the year because of a New Year's resolution. If you're selling sunglasses, it might be in the summer, right? If you're selling ski equipment, it might be in the winter or just before the winter, right? So for every brand, it's different, but I think for most e-commerce brands, Black Friday is still a key selling moment. So that's why we will cover this in a separate chapter. Right. So quick recap. What are seasonality campaigns? Right. So you can actually go back to session 5 if you want to recap on this. But it's essentially a promotion which you run with your performing creators. Right. So remember phase 1. I repeat this throughout this campaign as many times as needed. Phase 1, you test creators, you find your performing ones. Phase 2 are your seasonal campaigns where you leverage those performing creators to drive ROI, right? So again, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is one of those key selling moments and one of those seasonal campaigns. Now again, why is it so important for influencer marketing specifically? And this is because the performance, right, really depends on sales per post, right? Let me see, we'll cover this actually in a bit again, but this is kind of the formula which predicts revenue. It's the number of creators multiplied by sales per post, multiplied by the number of posts, multiplied by AOV. We'll go through this formula later again, but essentially sales per post is a key KPI to optimize for, optimize for your campaign performance, which makes sense, right? Sales per post is super important. And during those key selling moments, the sales per post per influencer is higher, right? There's a certain multiple. So this is also in line with kind of your conversion rate on your store. Just because more people are looking for gifts, more people will purchase. It's tied together with a good offer during Black Friday. And what you get out of one post in terms of revenue is just a bit higher during Black Friday. So if you are doing a campaign, right, and you have to decide based on resources and based on time, well, Black Friday is definitely a good time to organize a large-scale influencer campaign. So it all comes down to higher returns, right? Higher return on influencer spend. And this is really a term which we coin at Influencer Hero. It's an equivalent term for return on ad spend. I've said that throughout this course a few times, but I think return on ad spend doesn't really make sense here as we're not spending on ads, but we're spending on influencers. So we will try to use as much as possible the term ROAS, again, which is return on influencer spend. Then how to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Definitely inventory and cash flow, which was discussed quite in depth in last week's session for budgeting. Because what you want to do is prepare your working capital, right? You want to make sure that you have enough stock. So inventory and tied to inventory then is cash flow, right? Because what you need to do, again, we covered this last week, but you need to forecast how much revenue you expect to make during those key selling moments, so Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you want to make sure to have sufficient stock, right? And to purchase that stock, you need to prepare your cash flow. Then one key initiative which you want to do before you start a Black Friday campaign is relationship improvement initiatives. And this will help you to get more creators to participate in your campaign, right? So when I explained in this entire course, we have phase 1, testing campaigns, then we identify the winners, and in phase 2, we leverage those winners. But you still need to convince those winners to participate in your campaign, right? Because not all of them will say, okay, I will work with you forever in the future. It's your job to build those relationships and get them to continue to work with you. And specifically before Black Friday, because it's such a big moment to drive sales, what we recommend to do is to implement relationship improvement initiatives in advance to increase the number of creators which will participate in your campaign. And what we typically like to do is like to send gifts in advance, right? So this shouldn't be tied to your product, because then it comes over as a promotional thing, right? Because you sent the products for them to post about your product. But what we typically like to do is just look at the creator, like just think, okay, what kind of gift would they like? This can be flowers, this can be maybe some sort of book, or just some sort of gift which you think the creator would genuinely appreciate, right? And then what you want to do is you want to make that timing in an ideal way, so it is not too much in advance, so the creator would forget about the gift when you're reaching out to invite them to your campaign. But you also don't want to do it too close to your campaign invitation, so it comes over as a bribe, right? In a certain way, you could call it a bribe, but I would say it's more of a reciprocal relationship which you have, right? Which is always the case in business, right? You give something and the counterparty gives something in return. So again, just the timing is important, right? A little bit in advance, but not too much in advance. So typically what I would like to do is maybe 6 weeks to max 2 months before you send the Black Friday invitation email. Then one of the biggest prep or it's already part of the campaign implementation is budget allocation, right? So this is, which we explained in session 5, is how to prepare your fixed payments for the creators, which you will invite to the campaign, right? So we had this example sheet here, which you can find by going to the Influencer Hero material folder, which is linked in the description. Then going to Influence Marketing course, then we have this budget allocation file. So we don't go through in depth here because we covered this in session 5. So just look back session 5 if you need to refresh your memory here. But in short, right, what you're doing is you're predicting how much revenue the creator will make in your next campaign based on past performance data. And then you will allocate a budget in order to guarantee certain results. Just a quick note, because you're following this content on YouTube, if you complete all the 10 sessions, you will receive this certificate of completion. You can access it through the link below. The course is widely acknowledged by corporates, D2C brands, and most of the larger agencies. You can add it to your curriculum vitae, your CV, as well as your LinkedIn certificates, and this will help to propel your career. Now let's get back to the content. Right, so how do we do it? I will just explain it quickly then. Is you export it from your Influencer Hero account. If you're using Influencer Hero, you can just go to reporting and then export to Excel, and then you have the sales or the total sales, and you need the number of posts, and you divide the total sales by the number of posts, so you get to expected sales per post. You normalize it for attribution rates, and then you make your predictions, right? Now, how does this look like in real time or in practice, right? So this is an example campaign sheet. Now, next to this, the campaign implementation is all done in the Influencer Hero CRM. Honestly, if you are working with hundreds of creators, you need a CRM. It's almost impossible to do that manually. And you have a lot of automation sequences in the Influencer Hero CRM. But next to that, we typically have a campaign sheet. And this is all based on these kind of packages, right? So what you can see here, is actually in the worksheets. We have MPs and GPs, right? Remember how we explained this throughout this course. We categorize the creators based on performance. So we have high performing, medium performing, and general performing. And then for this specific case, we actually had a few more segments. So we had top high performing creators. So we actually created an additional segment for kind of the top 7 best performing ones, just because they're so important. So we just created a separate sheet for them. Then we have our high performing creators. Then we have our medium performing creators, and then the GPs, and then special attentions. These were just some cases which required some additional care because there was some situation. And then here we have new and other MPs. So this is quite interesting. This is the category where the testing phase overlapped into the campaign. So remember, or we ideally like to have is kind of an always on testing campaign, right? So we always have 50, 100 or 150 or 200 creators in the seeding phase, right? This is phase 1. Then what happens is actually there was some overlap. So these creators, they from phase 1 posted just before Black Friday. And so these were the new kind of medium and high performers which we found through those testing campaigns, and which we wanted to directly invite into the Black Friday / phase 2 type of campaign. So you can see here, right, we explain everything kind of from a default perspective, but then each campaign is different, right? You have certain situations, you might segment it separately, which is how it's done, right? And essentially with these sheets, we keep track of everything. Additionally to the CRM. So for example, here you can see Amazon gifts. So these are the gifts which I explained in the a moment ago. Then we send flowers, 1,800 flowers we use. So we keep track, okay, which creators have received the flowers, right? So it just makes it easier to implement. And then here you kind of have your well, this is the exercise which we do here in this simplified example, but this is how it's done, right? So we have sales per post, then we make some adjustments for certain situations, because maybe a creator, we know that she included us in a newsletter and that's not tracked as a social media post. That's very difficult to track, right? So maybe we normalize some of the revenue, sales per post. So this is actually the attribution rate. So we divide it by 70%, and then we have the packages here. Right. So again, we won't go through everything in detail, but I think this is quite interesting to see how it's actually done in real life. Now let's go into the campaign implementation. Okay. So again, here we won't go through all the templates just because they're quite a lot, and we covered this in depth in session 5. So again, go back to session 5 if you want to refresh this. But just because of the importance of Black Friday, I just want to highlight some of the communication strategies which are very important, and go through that one more time. So in order to access the templates, go to Influence Hero Material, then you go to seasonality campaigns, and then you have here Black Friday. You can access the templates here, right? So let's just briefly go through these templates. So you have the subject line, right? Always, I like to include the first name. I really recommend it. Will just trigger the open rate. So this is the first name of the creator, your brand name, and then Black Friday Cyber Monday campaign invitation. First name, at the personalized sentence. Again, this is the AI, right? So it just personalizes it nicely. Then we are thrilled to start preparing for this year's Black Friday and Cyber Monday campaign, and we would love you to join us once again. So this may personalize, depend on the creator which already joined last year. We will be running the biggest sale of the year, which we are only sharing with a few selected creators. And we are excited to offer you the following, right? So these are the compensation for the creator. And then we end it with a strong CTA. So you see here, again, we covered most of the communication strategies throughout this course. But just to refresh again, right? You want to make the creator feel special, especially for Black Friday, right? Because it's your responsibility to get as many creators as possible to join your campaign. I'll just go through this formula again, okay? Because this is so important, and this explains actually why I'm explaining what I'm explaining throughout this course. So your revenue, just in general for your influencer campaign and specifically for the seasonal campaigns, equal the number of creators which join your campaign, right? Multiplied by the sales per post each creator makes on average, right? Multiplied by the number of posts, multiplied by your AOV, right? And you, as the marketeer, need to optimize for all 4 of these variables, right? So AOV is a bit independent of influencer marketing. You should optimize that always, right, in e-commerce. But the other 3 are influencer specific, right? And well, the first part, the number of influencers which join your campaign, this is already part of your invitation email, okay? So what you want to do is you want to make the creators feel super special to be part of this campaign, right? So it's for a few selected creators. And then what you want to do is you want to stack up the offering, right? Make it look as valuable as possible, right? So you have the fixed payment. If you have an affiliate commission tied in, so you do a mixture, you have the affiliate commission, exclusive discount, not publicly available, right? So this is something we did. We explained that this is a creator-specific offer, right? So the discount's only available through the creator's discount code. That's something you can decide, right? So this depends a bit for this specific project. The brand had a strong tendency to influencer marketing for that specific market. If you're running paid ads a lot and you have multiple other channels, this might be a little bit more complicated, but there's certainly ways to make the creator feel special, right? And that's your responsibility as the campaign strategist. Then the gifted product, hyperlink to the product plus retail value, right? Again, your retail value is typically, a lot higher than your cost, right? So just make sure to add that in, right? These could be a few $100 in additional value for the creator, which they receive in gifts. And then you end with a strong CTA, right? So this is the invitation email. Again, the templates are linked below. Then what happens is you need to manage and optimize your campaign, right? So again, we covered this partly in session 5, but I just make it more specific for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? So once you send the email, 3 things can happen, right? The influencer is interested, right? Okay, great. They want to join your campaign. You have the interested agreed template, right? They ask for a budget, so they ask for more money. Can also happen. It happens, right? With a lot of creators. Then you have a negotiation template in place, right? Maybe you have some flexibility. You can increase the product offering a bit, or maybe you can increase the fixed payment a little bit, right? And that's good because you have the sheet, so you know exactly, okay, based on your prediction, you want to keep a, let's say at least a 4x ROI, but maybe the first offering you will be at 6x or 5x ROI. Then you can you can increase the compensation a bit, and you can see in the sheet, okay, how does this impact your predicted ROI, right? So you negotiate. If they don't reply, you need to follow up. Super important. Always with influencer marketing, always follow up, right? Excuse me. Don't take no for an answer, right? In the negotiation stage, it's just, this is business, right? You want to convince the creator to be part of your campaign, so don't give up, just negotiate, make an offering, and try to come to an agreement, right? With the follow-ups, this is also super important. So this impacts actually, again, the number of influencers which join your campaign, right? And how do you optimize for? Well, communication strategy, right? You just need to think, okay, how do I get as many creators as possible to join my campaign, because this will determine the outcome of the campaign, right? So if they don't reply to your email, don't give up. Try to send them a DM, right? Some creators are more responsive on DMs. You send them a DM, try to get them to reply. If they don't reply on DM as well, try using another email. Maybe your emails are getting into spam. Maybe the creator, I don't know. Could be the case, so just try another email and try to reach them. Rotate subject lines, right? Try different subject lines. Try different hooks in the subject line to catch their attention, right? And the last resort, which we actually always do and recommend, is handwritten letters, right? Because you worked with these creators once before, you have their address, right? Use that to your advantage and send them a postcard, right? Ideally handwritten, and try to get their attention that way, right? Invite them to your Black Friday campaign through a handwritten letter, showing your appreciation, working with them, right? What we like to do is to use Thanks.io. This is actually a software provider where you can automate this process. And then especially if you need to do this at large scale and you have hundreds of creators, you can just CSV upload all the addresses, and then you can use the handwritten AI option. And then if you use a blue font color, honestly, it's undetectable that it is AI written, and you can automate it. It looks like it's handwritten. So that's something you could potentially use as well. Then let's say you have gone through all of this, right? You've sent the follow-ups, you have gotten all the creators to participate in your campaign. Now, what do you want to do pre-launch, right? So this is a few days before your campaign launches, right? You're all excited, and now you need to think, okay, what do I need to do in order to make sure that the campaign is a success, right? So this is a quick pre-launch checklist. Double check if your discount codes for promotions are all set, and also the affiliate percentages. So in your CRM or whatever tool you're using, just double check that all the discount codes are set so it matches the promotion you offered or you promised to the creators, because there will be disaster if the creators are all saying, hey, you get 30% off, and then the discount code doesn't match. So double check that. Then the affiliate commission, also double check that. Then what you want to do is you want to prepare a banner on top of your website announcing the promotion. This is just to enhance conversion rate, right? Because you will be generating a lot of traffic to your website by having all these creators post about you, right? Then you want to make sure that everything is set up in the right way to basically maximize the conversion of that traffic, right? So a banner on top of your website, right, announcing Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, something in that direction really helps. Add your promotion on all your socials, right, TikTok, Instagram, wherever in your bio, right, what you like to do is just a copy on top of the link, and then some arrows down to enhance the CTA, or enhance basically people to click that link, and announce the promotion in your bio, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, I don't know, up to XY% off. Click here, something in that direction, right? CTA your people from social to your website. Prepare your email and SMS campaigns. So what you want to do is ideally have your entire campaign, again, all your other channels also in line with your promotion, right? What you want to do is your email marketing, right? SMS, you announce the promotion start, right? So your campaign beginning, or your customer will receive an email, hey, this promotion is going to start, Black Friday sale. This is probably something you already know and you already do, but I just repeat it here just in case. What's also working really well, and I mentioned that in one of the previous sessions, is that you put your paid ad creatives in line with your influencer campaign, right? So if you have done this in the previous year, you can use the UGCs, which are captured in the Influencer Hero content library, and download from last year. And then you have all those creators where, you have hundreds of creators which posted, hey, XYZ brand is having a awesome Black Friday sale. I was exclusively invited, and through this code you get 30% off. Right? You have those creative UGCs, and they work extremely well. So, select the dates to last year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, in your content library, download the UGCs and boost them through paid ads, right? And then, most importantly, this goes back to the influencer campaign, launch your reminder templates to all creators. Okay, this is super important because even though creators have said, hey, awesome, I would like to join your campaign, they have so many things going on in their lives, right? They're running a business, right? They have to make so much content. They have to talk to all their fans. So they might forget about you, right? So make sure the day before to send them an additional reminder email to, get them to post on the day when your campaign launches. Because this is super important. I think what you want to do is you want to launch with, you have your campaign goals, right? You might say, hey, I forecasted for, 3 million in revenue through Q4 this year. I purchased all this stock. So what you want to do is you want to have a head start. So you don't need to play catch up. You want to start your campaign with a good amount of revenue. So then you can keep up momentum, okay? This is the template which you can use, right? Hi, first name. I hope you're doing well. Just a quick reminder that our Black Friday campaign is starting tomorrow. Your followers will be able to access the percentage sale exclusively through your personal code. Here's the link and code. Could you please share the link to your post once it's live? We would love to see it, right? So that last sentence is just some additional kind of commitment. A lot of creators, especially during Black Friday, might not share it just because it's so busy for them as well. They have a lot of other brand deals. They have to post about it. Maybe they have their own products, right? But still, this some of them would, and just increases commitment a bit, okay? And then also important, just give them the option to ask questions, right? Is everything clear regarding your campaign, right? If not, let us know, right? And then explain it, right? And also super important, just keep your communication straight to the point, right? Don't confuse them with long emails. Just keep it simple to the point. Here's the link and code. This is, right? It makes it easy. They can copy the link and then post about your promotion. Now, the results in this specific case study, which matches this example sheet, it resulted in close to 700K in revenue. And this, I think, well, the reason I put this screenshot here is this is really showing the impact of an influencer campaign, because influencer marketing here was actually the key channel, the only channel. And that makes it quite interesting, because in most, well, specifically if you look at 8-figure plus brands, it's very difficult to dissect the impact of your marketing campaigns, because you have multiple channels going on, right? How do you know exactly which percentage of your revenue was generated through XYZ channel, right? You have this phrase, I think someone said, well, I know that 30% of my ad spend is generating 100% of my revenue. I just don't know which 30% it is, or something. Please let me know in the comments or through chat who said that. I just remembered vaguely, but makes it very difficult, right? Because you don't know exactly where the sales are coming from. But this is quite nice. So this is a Shopify screenshot of a store where influencer marketing for that country, because we dissected it, it was an international expansion, was influencers only. So we knew that this 700K was generated through influencers only. And the reason I want to show this chart is because this is a typical impact of a seasonality campaign. So you see here, before the campaign starts, close to zero in revenue, right? A few days you make a few sales, because there were no paid ads, there were no Amazon store. This was just influencers. So when influencers are not posting, you're not making sales, right? But then we have this seasonality campaign. And I think around here was Black Friday. So we started a little bit before Black Friday. Again, to capture, you have all those brands doing that, right? They start Black Friday earlier and earlier. So we did that as well. So we started here, I think it was around the 20th. I think we started the 20th of November or something. And then the 24th, I think, was Black Friday. So it's something here or here. And then actually the peak was on Cyber Monday, where it was 51K. And then the momentum drops a bit. And then at the end, you see a spike again. And this momentum drop is quite common. And this happens because you invite all the creators, you remind them to post when your campaign launches, then all the creators post when your campaign launches, and then it stops, right? And then what you typically do at the end, you do another big push, which I explain in a second. But here, what's important is that you want to try to keep momentum up here so that the drop isn't too significant. And how do you do that? Is actually using the this template, which is also in the file. And let's briefly go through it, right? So we say, hi, thank you so much for your amazing post about our Black Friday campaign. It has been great to work with you again, and we sincerely appreciate your support. The sale will remain active until blah, blah, blah. If you'd like to continue providing your followers with access to the offer through another post, your custom link and discount code will remain active until then. Link and code, thank you for being part of this. We look forward to more successful collaboration. So this is actually for a creator, which could be a GP, where you ask for just one post, right? For the creators, which are your HPs and MPs, you actually, there's a separate template for this, because with them, you can be a bit more direct, because you ask them for a package of 4 posts, right? So then you can collect the first post on the campaign start date, and then you ask them, hey, can we get the second post then? You probably already have like a schedule for them when to post, because you're paying them a fixed fee, but you still need to remind them and make sure that you collect all those posts, okay? So this is to keep momentum up, so to basically avoid that the drop here is too significant. What else? Yeah, so this was the sales. This is online store sessions, which is basically in line quite significantly with the sales. And then here, this is also quite interesting, the conversion rate for that campaign. Right, so throughout the year, this brand had around 1% conversion rate. So that's definitely low and can be improved, right? What's interesting maybe to note for this specific brand was doing low 7 figures a year. And then, the average click-through rate during the entire Black Friday campaign was 2.64. So it's more than 2x, almost 3x your conversion rate. But then specifically on Black Friday, the conversion rate was 3.6%, and on Cyber Monday was 4%, right? So that shows a bit the significance. This brand specifically had quite a seasonality towards Q4. Super important is the mobile, right? Because again, with influencer marketing, it's all on social, right? Unless you're doing YouTube, where the desktop penetration is quite high. But if your campaign is heavily skewed towards Instagram, TikTok, right? Any social media, you have to keep in mind that the majority of those people, they are scrolling Instagram on their phone, right? And this is also reflected. So you see here the majority, the blue color here, I think it's around 70% or something of the sessions were mobile. And then some of them, they go to desktop to do a little bit more research and then purchase, right? So it's still important, but you have to optimize your entire store for mobile. Okay, so mobile is super important in your campaign. Now, just to get back to the example sheet, right? What we do here is also to keep track of the product which you want to send. So this, I think, why can't I put this down? Okay, that's fine. The reason products are so important, and I forgot to mention that in the campaign preparation section, is that what you want to do is you want to make sure that the creators also receive the products a few days before your campaign starts, right? So don't risk it by gambling on 1 day arrival before, because then maybe, especially during Black Friday and during those times, UPS and all those vendors, they're a bit unreliable. So make sure that they get it in advance, because the last thing you want is that the creators, they don't have the product to share about, to announce your promotion. But the additional benefit of having the product arrive a few days before the campaign, it's also an additional reminder, right? They get the product in their doorstep, they open it, they know, okay, look, this is the brand I need to post about, the campaign is coming up. So even though they might have already a lot of products, you always want to send additional products before a seasonal campaign as an additional reminder to increase commitment to join your campaign, right? And that's also something which we track in the sheet here. So you can see, for example, here, what we did is we entered the cost of goods sold of each of the products. Then we entered an X if we are sending that product, and then I have a sheet here with total cost of goods sold. And basically, so you keep in mind, okay, what are the, or here's the total cost of goods sold, because this is performance marketing, right? Again, if you work for a, let's say an 8-figure brand or a higher 7-figure brand, you need to be profitable, right? Well, that's what we specialize on. The entire software is tailored towards performance marketing. And that means, okay, you need to calculate out, okay, what's my revenue, what's my returns, okay, to avoid, negative campaign results, right? So total cost of goods sold is one cost component. You have your marketing budget, total number of posts. Here, the fixed payments again, and then we look at the, again, I prefer to call this return on influencer spend, right? So here, this is my prediction. And just keep in mind, okay, I add additional product, I can add this here, and then the cost of goods sold goes up, and then my returns go down a bit. And I just want to have a safety margin here to make sure that I'm on track, right? Good, keep momentum, we discussed that. Then I think, one key moment, and that is also reflected here, is your campaign closing. So you see another spike here towards the end of your campaign. And that's, again, we discussed that in session 5 as well. But what you want to do is you want to leverage the end of your campaign, because that works really well, right? Remember, you should know this. You probably already do this in your email marketing and other campaigns, right? Use FOMO and urgency, right? If people or consumer think, okay, the offer is expiring, you typically see a push in conversion, right? People say, okay, I don't want to miss out. I want to take advantage of that offer, right? And there's no better way than communicating that message through creators, okay? And then even leveraging those UGCs in your paid campaigns, it works extremely well. Because think about it, you have creators talk to the commerce, telling their audience, hey guys, Gymshark's Black Friday sale is ending today. Guys, it's up for 5 more hours. Through my code, you can get exclusive 30% off, right? Those kind of videos work extremely well, organic through creators, but also on paid. So this is kind of the campaign closing template. All of them, again, is in the files in the description. So it's a hi first name. I hope you're doing fantastic. I just want to inform you that our Black Friday Cyber Monday campaign is ending today. It would be great if you could give your followers one last chance to get their gift in time. you can give your followers final access to the offer by using the link and code below, right? Again, leverage FOMO. Make sure your other channels are in line with what you communicate through creators. This is what I just mentioned with email marketing and everything else. And then if you want to really boost, I think this is what kind of is the second spike here. Let's say you didn't reach your target revenue, you still have stock left. You could do an extension. You cannot do this every campaign, but Black Friday you could. You could say, for example, it ended, and then you can add an additional email out which is saying, hey, there were so many customers which reached out to us which did miss out on the offer and which are still looking for gifts. Based on this, we decided to extend the promotion for 2 more days. So if you want to give your followers final access, here's the link and code. And again, you cannot do that over and over again because, well, at some point the creators, they know what you're doing. You do that to boost sales. But what we see is actually that a lot of creators then also just think strategically, right? The creators also want to give those good offers to their audience, right? And if you tell them, hey, a lot of customers reached out, they missed it, right? A lot of them just, they make another post. And the good thing is often you're not paying for that one additional post at the end. So strategically, again, do this strategically because the relationship is the most important. But what you can do is, for example, you deplete the 4 posts you agreed to with the creator before the end, and then you ask for 1 additional post because it's ending, right? It's blurry anyways, right? A lot of creators, they post a lot more than what you agreed on because they make reels, they make posts, they include in your newsletter. So it's blurry anyways, right? As you as the campaign strategist and the marketeer, it's your objective to get the most out of this campaign, right? At the same time, you can stretch it because it will damage the relationship to the creator. So it has to be some sort of middle ground. But the more sales you make through your influencer program, the more you can actually compensate the creator. So it's also important not to be too conservative in your communication, because if the creators are not driving and not posting and they're not making sales, your budget will be reduced from a performance marketing perspective, which you can use to compensate the creators. And that's definitely one of the biggest driver to keep creators engaged, is to show them, hey, we are in this together, right? When you post, you make sales and we compensate you for it, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. And then, just be nice, thank them once it's over, right? Don't just take all the money and leave. Thank them, tell them, hey, it was awesome to work with you, because you want to work with them again in your next campaign. So then real quick here, let's take a look at the performance here. So these are actuals. So I think this is also quite interesting to see, right? So the 80-20 principles very much reflected here. We mentioned it throughout this course, and this I think is a good closing on this, right? There are always a few people which drive the majority of your revenue, and we see it here, right? So tracked revenue, this top creator made 46K, 44K, 26K, right? And it drops off quite significantly. And these are the people, right, where it's okay to have one person full-time focusing on managing that relationship, right? If she makes 46K in 1-2 months, right? You can allocate budget to nurture that relationship, right? Here are the fixed payments, then the ROI. Here's 15x, but this is actually the ref total. So this is tracked sales, right? But this is divided by 70%, so you account for unattributed. And you can see here the returns, right? So 16x, 12x, 11x, 26x, 11x, right? So these are very high returns, which are almost impossible to receive through other channels. This is only possible with influencer marketing, and this is why it's so valuable. And you can see here also the distribution. The HPs account for 61% of the revenue, MPs for 30%, and the GP 6.5%. You can see it here in charts. Profit, it's actually slightly smaller with HPs. I think it's because of the fixed payments. They were quite expensive. But yeah, you can still see, okay, the HPs, they are so important, right? They should be the people which get the most attention. I think this total campaign, 665K, I think, in revenue. Total marketing cost was 83K. So it was not 10x plus, but I think 8x is still a very decent result. I think this is it on Black Friday. Did I forget anything? The link to the case studies are also in the description. You can also go to our blog section here, but it is this one. So here it's written a lot more in depth. So if you are interested, just access this case study. The link is in the description. And then we will now move on to a few other case studies.